Have you ever found yourself quietly worrying about your size, wondering if it's normal, or feeling that nagging insecurity no one talks about? You're not alone. For many men over 60, concerns about penis size aren't just about appearance. They run deep, touching on confidence, identity, and even the fear of losing connection with a partner. But here's the truth that most people won't tell you. The majority of men who worry about their size are actually within the normal range. Yet, that anxiety can silently affect every part of your life, from intimacy to self-esteem and overall well-being. In this video, I'm going to share real, science-backed methods that can help you regain not just physical confidence, but emotional peace. You'll learn about safe, proven techniques that work without gimmicks or risky shortcuts. I'll also explain why some popular quick fixes can be dangerous and what you need to avoid. Whether you're curious about non-surgical options, considering therapy, or want to understand the risks and realities of surgical procedures, this video will give you clear, honest answers, so you can make informed decisions for your body and your mind. Stay with me until the end, because I'll also reveal the one approach my patients have seen the most lasting success with, and why your worth is never measured in inches, but in confidence and self-respect. If you've been silently struggling, it's time to get the truth and take control. Let's begin. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. No scalpels, no flashy gimmick, no empty promises or quick fixes that vanish as fast as they appear. What I want to offer you is something far more valuable. Real, honest results backed by science and rooted in truth. But before we dive deep into the clinical evidence, the proven methods, and the medical breakthroughs, there's a deeper, often unspoken truth that must be acknowledged first. This is the silent weight that countless men carry every single day, an invisible burden wrapped in shame, fear, and uncertainty. Because until we confront this emotional reality, no amount of scientific explanation can truly heal or empower. Let's be brutally honest about something most men would never say out loud, especially as the years pass and their bodies begin to change. The concern about penis size, yes, that topic many avoid, hush up, or brush aside, does not simply fade away with age. In fact, for many men over 60, that concern often grows heavier, more profound, entwined with feelings far beyond mere physical appearance. It's no longer just about how things look, it's about identity, about confidence that has been chipped away by time, about a deep-seated fear of losing connection, both the passionate, intimate kind and the emotional closeness that sustains a relationship. Even in a world where medical conversations about aging have become more open, this subject remains cloaked in silence, stigma, and misunderstanding. That silence is precisely why this conversation matters now. I am not here to sell you snake oil. No miracle creams, no suspicious supplements promising overnight miracles, no risky surgeries with unknown consequences. What I bring you is something far more powerful: knowledge. Real, documented, scientifically validated knowledge that has been studied by urologists and published in respected, peer-reviewed medical journals. These are the solutions that work, especially for men who have spent years quietly wrestling with insecurity and doubt, men who thought they had to suffer in silence. Let's start with the most important truth of all. Most men who worry about their size are not small. That may shock you, but the facts tell a clear, undeniable story. In one of the largest surveys ever conducted, more than 50,000 heterosexual men were asked about their satisfaction with size. Over half expressed unhappiness. But when their female partners were interviewed, a staggering 85% said they were perfectly satisfied. This gap, this disconnect, reveals something profound. The issue isn't always about the physical body. It's about perception, how we see ourselves, how we feel about ourselves. Globally, the average erect penis length measures around 5.2 inches, 13.2 centimeters, and anything above roughly 2.9 inches, 7.5 centimeters, is considered medically normal. Only a tiny fraction of men, about 0.14%, fall below this threshold, a condition known as micropenis. So why do so many men continue to feel inadequate? The answer lies in what experts call small penis anxiety, a form of body dysmorphic disorder characterized by obsessive worry about size and worth. For many, it's a relentless source of daily anguish. They compare themselves against impossible standards, internalize cultural pressures and unrealistic images, and suffer quietly, wondering if they somehow fall short of what it means to be a man. This anxiety doesn't just live in the mind, it infiltrates every area of life, casting shadows over relationships, intimacy, self-esteem, and even physical well-being. But here's the hopeful truth. Even if your size is medically normal, science shows us that there are safe, gradual, and effective ways to increase length. These methods won't work like magic or transform you overnight. They require patience, commitment, and trust, but they deliver real results. For men over 60, these techniques offer far more than physical change. They bring emotional reassurance, renewed confidence, and a restored sense of pride in their bodies. That's where we will focus next. I will guide you through 4 non-surgical, evidence-based techniques that have been rigorously studied and clinically documented as effective, especially for older men. Alongside those, I'll also outline 3 surgical options that exist but come with serious risks, because you deserve full transparency, clarity, and the power to make informed decisions. You deserve options grounded in truth. You deserve to feel whole, strong, and confident in your body, no matter your age. Let's begin with the most important category, the 4 non-surgical techniques backed by science that have proven to help men safely enhance length and reclaim confidence later in life. First, and often the most powerful step, is psychological counseling. After decades of working with men over 60, I can say without hesitation, the mind carries the heaviest burden when it comes to concerns about size. The emotional scars, the quiet doubts, the years spent hiding insecurities, they are often far more impactful than any physical measure. I've sat with men in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s who have carried shame about their bodies for decades, not because any doctor told them they were small, not because measurements said so, but because a quiet, persistent voice inside them whispered they didn't measure up. This belief, left unchecked, chips away at self-worth, creeps into intimacy, and corrodes the bonds of connection that matter most. Counseling can be transformative. It offers a space to unpack those fears, to challenge false beliefs, and to rebuild confidence from the inside out. Because true strength, after all, begins in the mind, and when you heal there, your whole life changes. What often begins as quiet doubts can quickly spiral into a consuming, suffocating shame. For many men, especially after retirement, when the distractions of daily work fade and solitude becomes more frequent, this silent torment can become a relentless, exhausting mental loop. Thoughts churn endlessly, doubts magnify, and the weight of perceived inadequacy presses down heavier than ever before. Yet, here's what's truly remarkable. When these same men are guided gently but firmly through professional counseling by someone who truly understands the profound emotional gravity tied to male identity and self-worth, they often experience a transformation that no device, no surgery, no quick fix could ever deliver. In those sessions, something shifts. They begin to untangle the tangled threads of fear and falsehood from the threads of reality. They learn, slowly but powerfully, that their true value is not dictated by a number on a ruler or some imagined standard. They start to release the desperate chase after a version of manhood defined not by their truth, but by toxic comparisons, unrealistic fantasies, or the shame society has silently imposed on them. This isn't just hopeful talk. It is grounded in real science. Research shows that men who commit to psychological therapy for concerns about penile size often come to abandon the pursuit of physical enlargement altogether. Not because they have given up, but because they have finally found peace with their bodies, their authentic selves. Their anxiety dissolves like a fog lifting, their relationships deepen and flourish, and they reconnect with their partners and, most importantly, themselves in ways long clouded by shame and quiet insecurity. Honestly, I've witnessed more enduring satisfaction emerge from just a handful of honest, heartfelt therapy sessions than from months spent on mechanical stretching devices or risky, invasive procedures. Because when the heart and mind find ease, the relentless pursuit of impossible ideals simply fades away. I understand that for some, the very thought of therapy might feel strange or uncomfortable. Many of us grew up in a culture that taught us to push through pain silently rather than talk about it. But here's a truth I want to share with you. There is no weakness in choosing to take control of your mental health. Real strength comes from facing your fears head-on, from the courage to question the stories you've told yourself for years. If you find yourself quietly nodding along, recognizing these words as your silent struggle, I urge you, start here. Seek out a counselor who specializes in men's health or sexual wellness. Speak openly. Unpack that heavy burden you've carried alone for far too long. Because often, the moment you stop running from it is the moment you begin to feel truly free. Now, for those who still feel a desire to explore physical improvement, because let's face it, for some men, that longing remains, we will turn to what the science has proven to be effective. The only device that has been clinically shown to lengthen the penis over time. And you might be surprised at just how effective this method can be when approached with patience, discipline, and dedication. That device is the penile traction device. Among the countless questions I receive from older men, the most common one is, "Doctor, is there anything I can do to genuinely increase length without surgery?" The honest answer is yes, but it's not magic. It demands commitment, persistence, and the right tool. This tool, unlike the endless array of dubious products sold online or advertised with empty promises, is backed by rigorous scientific evidence. I recall one patient vividly. Harold, a retired engineer in his early 70s, practical, grounded, and no-nonsense. He came to me not out of desperation but curiosity. "If something actually works, I'll give it my best shot," he said. "But I don't have time for tricks." I respected his straightforwardness. So I explained penile traction therapy, the only method validated in peer-reviewed studies that produces real, measurable lengthening results. Here's how it works. The device applies a gentle, continuous stretching force to the penis over an extended period. It sounds simple, and in theory it is, but it's not a quick fix. Most men who succeed use the device for several hours daily, every day, for a minimum of 3 to 6 months. It's a slow and steady process, but much like how orthodontic braces gradually realign teeth, traction therapy encourages the growth of new cells in the penile tissue, a process called cellular proliferation. Over time, this results in actual lengthening in both the flaccid and stretched state. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. In the most well-known studies, men gained up to 2 centimeters, or roughly 3/4 of an inch, in length. That might not sound earth-shattering, but for many men, even this modest gain is a powerful boost to confidence, to self-image, and to their intimate lives. Importantly, it is one of the few methods to consistently deliver results without exposing men to the dangers of surgery or unregulated injections. What truly makes this approach effective is consistency. It's not a device you use occasionally and expect miracles. It's for men who are serious about change, who are willing to invest daily effort, and who understand that true improvement is a process, not an overnight promise. But the benefits are not just physical. They are deeply psychological. Many patients return months later, not only with measurable gains but also with a renewed sense of agency over their health and identity. Of course, proper use is essential. It's critical to follow the manufacturer's guidelines and to consult a urologist if you have underlying conditions such as Peyronie's disease or erectile dysfunction. Mild side effects, temporary numbness, minor skin irritation, can occur, but serious complications are extremely rare when the device is used as intended. If you're the kind of person who thrives on structure, routine, and having a clear sense of control over your progress, then this method, the penile traction device, could be a perfect fit for you. It's a commitment, yes, but it's also empowering. It puts the reins in your hands and rewards patience and discipline. I remember vividly what Harold told me 6 months after starting the therapy, his face breaking into a proud grin as he said, "It wasn't magic, but it worked, and I feel better knowing I did something about it." Those words carry weight because they come from a man who reclaimed not just a few centimeters, but a piece of his confidence and dignity. Now, while the traction device holds the undisputed crown for real, measurable results, it's important to understand that not every tool or gadget out there lives up to the hype. The next method I'm about to describe is widely misunderstood, often oversold, and falsely believed by many to increase length. The truth might surprise you, and it's vital to know the facts before investing your hopes, time, or money. 3. Vacuum erection devices. Excellent for restoring function, but not for adding length. The very word pump sparks hope in many men. I've had countless older patients walk into my office clutching a vacuum erection device, eyes hopeful, asking, "Doctor, if I use this every day, will it make me bigger?" And my answer is always delivered with respect and honesty, because beneath that question lies a deeper truth, a yearning to regain control, to feel strong again, and to believe that something simple and tangible might restore what the passing years have taken. Let me be clear. Vacuum erection devices, or VEDs, are outstanding tools, but they are designed to improve erectile function, not lengthen the penis. What they do best is restore blood flow, helping men achieve and sustain erections, especially when age, diabetes, prostate surgery, or other medical challenges have made intimacy difficult. For that purpose, VEDs are powerful, reliable, and backed by solid clinical evidence. However, if your goal is to increase length, it's important to understand upfront that these devices aren't built for that purpose. Scientific studies consistently show that they do not produce permanent gains in size. But I have witnessed firsthand how these devices transform lives, not by changing physical measurements, but by restoring a man's sense of confidence and vitality. Take Glenn, for example, a 68-year-old man who battled low self-esteem for years after heart surgery weakened his erections. He was hesitant about pills and fearful of surgical implants. When he started using a vacuum erection device, everything shifted. Not only did he regain the ability to have a firm erection, but he also rediscovered something more profound: his sense of masculinity and self-worth. Glenn told me with a smile, "I feel like myself again. My wife noticed the change, and I even walk a little taller now." For many men, that renewed sense of identity and connection is the true victory. How does a VED work? It uses negative pressure to draw blood into the penis, creating an erection. A constriction ring placed at the base helps maintain firmness during intimacy. The device is easy to use, non-invasive, and safe when used as directed. There's no surgery, no medications, and side effects are minimal, mostly limited to minor bruising or temporary discomfort. While they won't increase your length, VEDs play an important role in maintaining penile health. Regular use encourages healthy blood flow, which helps prevent tissue shrinkage and keeps erectile tissue responsive. For men combining traction therapy or other treatments, vacuum devices can be a valuable complementary tool, preserving vascular function and helping maintain performance. So, if you're facing performance challenges or want to stay proactive against the effects of aging, a vacuum erection device might be an essential part of your toolkit. It may not add inches, but it offers something equally precious: restored function, renewed confidence, and readiness for intimacy. That said, it's time to talk about a path that is far more dangerous, one often disguised as a tempting quick fix but fraught with serious risk. Many men turn to this next option, desperate for fast results, and sadly, some only realize the harm they've done when it's too late to reverse the damage. Let me be clear from the start. Penile injections are far more dangerous than most people realize. This is a warning that cannot be overstated. 4. Avoid all injections. The risks involved are simply too high, and the consequences can be life-altering. I wish I didn't have to say this aloud, but I do, loud and clear. If you've been browsing online forums, scrolling through glossy advertisements, or watching late-night infomercials promising miraculous penis enlargement with just a few quick injections, I urge you to stop and listen carefully. I have seen the fallout firsthand, men who put their hope and trust in these shortcuts only to face devastating outcomes that ripple through their physical health, their emotional well-being, and even their finances. Let me share a story I will never forget, because it embodies the very real dangers hidden behind these alluring promises. Thomas was a patient in his early 60s, recently divorced, carrying a deep vulnerability that many men can relate to after a major life change. He found himself drawn to a flashy website advertising girth enhancement injections at a clinic abroad, a promise of a fresh start, a boost to his confidence, and a chance to feel younger again in the dating world. But what awaited him was heartbreak. Instead of renewed vigor, Thomas suffered severe inflammation, painful scarring, and an alarming loss of sensation. And when complications arose, he was met with silence. Calls to the clinic went unanswered, leaving him stranded and desperate. These injections typically involve substances like silicone, collagen, fat, or other fillers, some advertised as safe, even natural. But here's the brutal truth. None of these injectable procedures are FDA approved for penile enhancement. None of the major, reputable medical organizations, such as the Sexual Medicine Society of North America or leading urological associations, recommends them. Clinical studies reveal alarming risks. These substances can migrate unpredictably over time, forming painful lumps, deforming the shape of the penis, or causing chronic, recurring infections. Some complications do not surface immediately. They can appear years later, by which point the damage may be irreversible. Imagine going in search of confidence and ending up with a body that no longer functions, or worse, causes constant pain. This is not a rare scenario. I've seen it more times than I care to count. I understand the allure. The promise of a quick, simple, discreet fix is incredibly tempting, especially for men who have spent decades quietly battling insecurities about size. But I cannot stress this enough. There are no shortcuts when it comes to something this intimate, this delicate, this personal. You deserve far better than back-alley promises, unregulated treatments, or unproven injections that gamble with your health and dignity. And if you've already had injections, don't panic. But do seek a thorough evaluation by a board-certified urologist as soon as possible. Early assessment can catch complications before they spiral out of control and guide you toward the safest next step. So, after exploring the non-surgical approaches, psychological counseling, traction devices, vacuum pumps, and the crucial warning against injections, where does that leave us? These methods offer hope without the knife, without the unpredictable risk. But for men still considering surgery, whether because other avenues have been exhausted or unique circumstances push them toward it, there is much to weigh. Surgical options are not for the faint of heart. They demand courage, a clear understanding of the risks, and a willingness to face the unknown. In the next section, we'll take an unflinching look at surgical interventions, the good, the bad, and the downright dangerous. If you've ever wondered what happens behind closed doors in enhancement clinics or whether any of these surgeries are truly worth it, this is where the truth lies. One of the most commonly discussed surgical procedures is suspensory ligament release. It promises small gains but carries big risk. Every time a patient mentions surgery as a path to increase size, I take a deep breath and pause. Not because there is nothing to say, but because this is one of the most emotionally charged decisions a man can face. At this stage of life, after 60, after decades filled with work, family, love, loss, and growth, wanting to feel more confident in your body is not shallow or trivial. It's deeply human. It's personal. And it deserves nothing less than full transparency, free from marketing spin or empty promises. Suspensory ligament release surgery is often presented as the ultimate solution, the go-to option for men who long for added length and a renewed sense of masculinity. The promise sounds straightforward, almost elegant in its simplicity. By cutting the suspensory ligament, the strong band of tissue that tethers the penis to the pubic bone, more of the internal shaft is freed to extend outward. On paper, it seems logical. Loosen the tether, unlock hidden length, and voila, a longer penis. And yes, in some cases, this procedure does produce a visible increase in flaccid length. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment too below to let me know that you are still here with me. But what you rarely hear, the details that clinics gloss over or outright omit, is that this increase comes at a significant cost. The biggest misconception I encounter is this: suspensory ligament release does not increase erect length. That's right. The modest length gained is only noticeable when the penis is soft. And even then, the average gain is usually less than an inch, often around half an inch or less. For some men, that slight increase may feel meaningful. But for many others, it leads to profound disappointment and regret rather than satisfaction or confidence. More importantly, cutting this crucial ligament can dramatically affect the angle and stability of erection. The suspensory ligament serves as an anchor, helping the penis point upward during arousal, a natural, reassuring angle that many men are used to and expect. Without this firm attachment, the penis may no longer maintain that proud, upward position. Instead, it can hang downward or feel unsupported, resulting in erections that feel floppy, awkward, or even unstable. This is not a rare or isolated side effect. It's a common and very real outcome that rarely gets mentioned in marketing materials or glossy brochures. In addition to changes in angle and stability, I've also witnessed patients develop scar tissue at the incision site. This scar tissue can lead to further complications. It may cause the penis to shorten over time or distort its shape, creating a visual and functional outcome far from what was hoped for. To prevent these problems, many surgeons recommend, or require, that patients wear penile traction devices for several months after the operation to avoid retraction of the newly freed tissue. But shockingly, this critical detail is often withheld until after surgery, leaving men unprepared for the long, uncomfortable recovery process. I remember Leonard, a patient in his late 60s, who came to me months after his suspensory ligament release surgery at a private clinic. Recently divorced and feeling isolated, Leonard had been drawn in by promises of at least 2 inches of additional length, a promise that sounded like a new beginning. But the reality was far from that dream. Leonard gained just under half an inch when flaccid, and his erections now had a noticeably flatter, less natural angle. More than the physical changes, what haunted him was the emotional toll, the deep, gnawing sense of regret and loss. He told me, "What hurt most wasn't the money I spent or even the physical discomfort, it was the feeling that I'd tried to fix something inside myself, and it still wasn't right." That raw honesty is why I always tell men considering this path to proceed with their eyes wide open. This is not a decision to be taken lightly or made on a whim. If you're contemplating suspensory ligament release, ensure your surgeon is board certified, has extensive experience with this procedure, and, most importantly, is brutally honest about realistic outcomes and risk. This surgery is as much a psychological journey as a physical one, and you deserve full transparency before embarking on it. Thank you for taking the time to watch this important discussion about men's health, confidence, and the realities behind penis enlargement options. We've covered a lot, from the emotional truths many men face quietly every day, to the scientifically backed non-surgical methods that can help, and the serious risks involved with injections and surgery. Now, I want to hear from you. What's one thing you've learned from this video that stood out to you? How will you apply that insight in your own life or journey? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experience might just inspire or help someone else watching. If you found this video helpful, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Your support means a lot, and it helps us continue bringing you honest, trustworthy information. Remember, true confidence comes from understanding, patience, and making informed choices. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you in the next video.